10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 0.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to welcome you today to the event Simplify Your Hybrid Cloud Journey, co-presented by VMware and StarOne IT. I will start with a small brief about StarOne IT. We are headquartered in Trivandrum, Kerala, with branches in Cochin, Bangalore, and the Middle East. The key differentiator we bring to the table is our deep understanding of customer pain points, aligning the right technology, and implementing end-to-end solutions to solve business problems. With this approach, we are humbled to be the preferred IT infrastructure solutions provider and system integrator for clients across sectors, the government, enterprise, and research institutions. We are also proud to have been a key partner in each of our clients' digital transformation journey, with a range of services that include data center services, cybersecurity, enterprise switching and networking, cloud, automation, and modern application migration. With this portfolio of services, both on-premise and on the cloud, we at StarOne IT are geared to offer you any mix of service to our clients, particularly in the cloud domain, and are ready to simplify your hybrid cloud journey, partnering with VMware and offering VMC on AWS. It's now become a cliche to say that the pandemic has accelerated digital transformation. And the talk doing rounds is that the pandemic has even beaten the CXOs in driving this acceleration. IDC has forecasted that 2021 will be the year of the multi-cloud, with majority of enterprises deploying combination of cloud solutions to leverage the immense potential of deploying rapidly at scale. From an enterprise perspective, while the cloud provides an agile, scalable, cost-rational IT infrastructure that supports business processes, it might not necessarily be an appropriate option for all types of workloads. This is where the hybrid cloud steps in to bridge the gap and allow enterprises to keep certain workloads on the premise using an in-house data center and the remainder of the workloads on a public cloud, thereby ensuring better performance, 24/7 availability, enhanced security, and most importantly, greater compliance. The question now remains, how can we further refine and fine-tune our cloud journey, particularly in the hybrid cloud space, in terms of what workloads do we run on the premise, what do we put on the cloud, and how do we achieve the seamless and experience? To share insights on these questions and have a conversation on the pain points of the industry, we have our keynote speaker, Mr. B. Srikumar. Mr. B. Srikumar is the global IT head of the Suntech Group. He is also the president of the CIO Association of India, Kerala chapter. He has over 30 years of experience in IT governance, strategy, operations, and management with Fortune 500 companies across multiple domains, including oil and gas, telecom, BFSI, and education. He is a thought leader, technology expert, and one of the key contributors to the digital transformation of the state of Kerala. I welcome you, sir, and look forward to hearing from you. Now, without further ado, I request Mr. Srikumar to kindly share his thoughts with all of us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Jem, for the intro and setting the context for the event. Great to be associated. It's a great privilege for me today. Good evening, all, for joining. And I'm extremely pleased to be addressing the evident CIO community as well as the IT leaders, the senior IT leaders out there. Actually, to be very honest, these days one of the challenges that CIOs face is the overload of webinars That said, is most of the time, it is a stereotype kind of webinars that do happen, like about the pandemic situation, the work from home, the security problem, those kind of things. But we are all quite looking forward to something that is specific to our interest. Like the CIO community per se has got a lot of challenges, typically and specifically in certain spaces. So it actually, when webinars come and when we participate and we get some inputs which we take back home and which we can probably replicate in our domain, then that's where it really makes a lot of sense. And it's good that this event, I can see, is a focused one on how hybridization would change the cloud ecosystem. So I mean, it's already there for the take. The cloud per se has been there for over a decade or more rather. So it is not something that we are finding it new, but it has been evolving over the period of time. And more than the initial advantages that the cloud offered, the challenges that the cloud technologies and the cloud provisioning offered has been much more on a regular basis over a period of time. Jim had set a context for this quite effectively. He has said how did the cloud system evolve. Initially, there was a run to the cloud, and then I think almost every organization would have at least a part of their workload on the cloud. And the initial capital cost reduction and the run to production, the quick run to production, and those kind of things were the ones that really charmed the CIOs to go for the cloud. But what was in store was like the excessive running cost, the exit criteria. See, the problem basically that as a CIO, which when we exchange our ideas with our peer people, so what we clearly experience is that it is like a Chakravyuh kind of a thing. So it's very easy that you can go park your workloads on the cloud, but what is it that what made you put your workload on cloud may not be there after a while. So after some time you may need to bring it back on premise, or you may need to move to another cloud. But the cloud technology per se, be it AWS, be it Google, be it Azure or anything, these are all proprietary things. It's not quite easy for you to the orchestration layer which actually enables you to move around is within that particular cloud ecosystem itself. So beyond that, if you want to move, it's not quite easy for you to move it back and forth. So like for instance, the another problem that we face is the cloud native services that these people offer. So once you park your workload on cloud, more often than not, then you are forced to use the native cloud services itself. So the cost towards it is something that that is something that based on your workload and your consumption pattern is what drives the decision for you to remain there or maybe come out of it. So the actually the reason for you to get into the cloud has changed from the earlier thing of elasticity, flexibility, cost, easy run to production. More than that, the flexibility to go back and forth, to move your workload back and forth from the cloud to on-premise to another cloud. So that became a more pronounced kind of a requirement for or a need or a capability for when you move to the cloud ecosystem. So this is what I've felt. But for example, if you look at the monitoring services, the cloud native monitoring services, AWS has got the CloudWatch. The Sentinel is the one that Azure has. So if you use that, the services are pretty expensive. And if you have an end-to-end workflow management on containers or something like that, and you want to have an enterprise view, having these independent CloudWatch or Sentinel alone may not really be helpful to you. So what you do is you try to balance it with Grafana, Prometheus, or something like that, which are all open source things, and then which you probably normally use on an on-premise kind of thing. But that prompted many of us in the city to actually bring part of our workload onto a kind of a localized on-prem kind of a thing. But again, the problem that actually came to what Jim was saying about the multi-cloud kind of a thing, that I could have part of my workload, here on-prem. I could have something on Azure. I could have something on on AWS, so public cloud, private cloud, on-prem, and all those kinds of things. But these are all independent ecosystems. So, but that is not what a CIO would need if you want a purely flexible kind of an operating environment. The edge is keeping on changing. The compute is, if you have an high performance computing, it's not quite of a wisdom to put your entire high performance computing on cloud. You will pay a lot of money for if you want to use it that way. So probably some organization would like to have the whole of its compute indoors, and then you put it probably on the edge itself, so that you can go back and forth between the two. But all said and done, this is not easy to move things back and forth. So you need an ecosystem to do that. So the cloud providers themselves, like for instance, the IBM provided their OpenShift thing, Red Hat OpenShift stuff. HP offered their GreenLake, the thing from edge to cloud kind of solutions. But these again were kind of proprietary stuff. What an organization or a CIO would need is, between any of the cloud, between my on-premise and all this, you need to have a layer that actually seamlessly allows me to orchestrate between all this and move my workloads back and forth, move things like, it should be like the entire CI/CD pipeline should be like one pipe that moves right straight up to the cloud and back forth. So that kind of an ecosystem is what we would ultimately be looking at, and that's what every organization is looking forward to. So all the organizations to whom I've been talking, this is a challenge that they are going to face. So that is where some of the new technologies that is coming in. I think we are about to hear from VMware on this particular technology. Like VMware, of course, has the solution, the VCF, which is the cloud orchestration layer. Top of it, they have the Tanzu, which is the DevOps layer. Again, Nutanix has something similar called the Acropolis and the Calm, which actually speaks. So many solutions are now available. So these things have to be adopted, and then once you adopt these, then you can seamlessly move your workloads between. See, it's very much necessary with this containerization and the applications being containerized now. It's like moving the boxes across. Like you need to be able to move a box from an on-premise to a cloud so seamlessly across different clouds to on-premise, that that makes your life so comfortable. And then depending on your consumption pattern, you might need to move something onto cloud, and tomorrow you might need to bring it back here. These are the challenges which the CIO community is facing these days. And actually the problem also for us is like the changing pattern, right? If you look at the last 20-30 years horizon, it moves from a centralized ecosystem to a distributed architecture. Then again it moves to centralized, like from the earlier mainframe to a kind of a desktop based computing. Then it went to virtualization. That's when it moved again back to the data center. Now then we talked about the cloud. Now we are talking about horizontal scaling, where your processing happens on multiple nodes kind of thing. So from distributed to centralized, CIO is often kept confused, like okay, is centralized good or distributed good? So the technology keeps evolving, and it's like these vendors, most of these vendors who are into the technology solution space, they are offering us solutions, and it is good that we get an input into these, and such webinars, I think would give us a lot of input. Thanks to Star1 and VMware for giving us an exposure to this, and these kind of events would definitely help us, the CIO community, to get closer and adopt the technologies as appropriate. Thank you so much, and I think I'll stop at this. I think there's a bell ringing on my mobile. Jim has given me 10 minutes. So over to you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Srikumar, for sharing your valuable insights on the importance of cloud technology and how hybrid cloud is becoming the reality for various organizations. Moving to our next speaker, he has spent over 20 years in the IT industry with deep expertise in storage, virtualization, software-defined networking, database, and automation across private and public clouds. It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Girish Raja, Staff Partner, Solution Architect, Multi-Cloud and Services, VMware India. Over to you, Mr. Girish.
Yeah, sorry, I was not unmuted. Thank you, Srikumar sir. It was great hearing from you. You spoke about the multi-cloud challenges that typically organizations are facing today. So just to carry on from there, my name is Girish Raja. I'm a staff solution architect with VMware, specifically for multi-cloud. And here I would like to take you through the hybrid cloud journey, how easy it would be or how simplified it would be if it starts with the VMware Cloud Storage. So let me just start off. When we speak about hybrid cloud or infrastructure, today digital transformation is all about applications. Every focus is on applications, and applications are the ones which is driving the infrastructure choices as well. So what are these applications? Yeah, people speak about app modernization, but the easy word is it can be a mix of legacy and the new generation or the next generation applications like the containers or the microservices, etc., etc. So when we speak with multiple organizations, what we understood today is they are trying to rationalize their applications. Certain people spoke about trying to re-platform their existing legacy applications to be able to put it on cloud. We are seeing customers speaking about refactoring their applications and trying to get into the cloud native way. We have customers who are planning to deploy hybrid apps where certain components of the applications reside on-prem and certain reside on the cloud. And we also have customers who are completely ripping off their existing applications and going the subscription way as well, or the SaaS way as well. So these are different kinds of application rationalization that we are seeing in the infrastructure or in the industry today. But when we speak about these things, each and every of these applications have their own choice of cloud. Maybe it is a private cloud, a public cloud, or it can be on the edge as well. So what we see here is, or what we have got from the customer is, almost 93% of the people, as per the survey that we did, 93% of the enterprises are looking for hybrid cloud as their preferred infrastructure choice. Because what it brings is the hybridity across all these three different clouds, so that no matter which stage of application modernization they are in currently, they will be able to transform from one layer to the other easily. So hybrid cloud, the word is very simple, but the challenges that we see in hybrid cloud strategy today is like, there are many things. Number one, when people speak about hybrid cloud, the first thing that anyone would want is, I want my operations to be consistent. Whatever I do on-prem, I should be able to do the same stuff on any of the data centers, maybe a private cloud, public cloud, or even a remote office kind of a solution. It has to be the same. Second, when I'm speaking about operations, skill set is the next thing that comes, right? I should be able to use the same skill sets that I have. I should be using, you should be able to reuse the toolings that I have and have same kind of security measures across all these particular clouds. Fourth thing is SLAs. My application should have the same SLAs. I cannot have XSLA for one of my applications running on-prem and a different SLA for applications running on cloud. It should match. And when I'm thinking of moving these applications from on-prem to cloud, it also should carry the same format. Because if I'm expecting a conversion, obviously that is going to call for a downtime, that is going to call for more engineering efforts, etc., etc. So I want to ensure that my machine format is also the same when I take them to cloud. So these are some challenges that we are seeing when it comes to hybrid cloud strategy. So how do we do it? That is where VMware Cloud Foundation comes into the picture. So VMware Cloud Foundation is nothing but our VMware software-defined data center story. What we say is, this particular component, the VCF as we say, in short, can be deployed exactly on a private cloud which is managed by the customer. We can take the same VMware Cloud Foundation, deploy it on the VMware Cloud on AWS, which is again managed by VMware but resides on the AWS region. And third is the same component can also be deployed on our other partner managed cloud, which is nothing but the other hyperscalers like the Azure, Google, Oracle, Alibaba, etc., etc. So what does this bring? This brings a consistency in place. Number one, the entire infrastructure that we are speaking about, the VCF infrastructure, will be able to run both your virtual machines and your container infrastructure alike. You can use the same platform so that it becomes consistent. It brings in the consistency that is needed for your infrastructure. Next is, since the infrastructure is consistent, no matter which cloud you run them, the automation and the operation point of view is also consistent across the clouds. Let it be you have a couple of data centers, you have the data center running on Azure, one data center running on AWS. It will still bring in the same consistency that you would need. You don't need a different set of orchestration tools or separate skill sets to actually monitor and automate these particular applications. The last thing is, since we are speaking about a consistent infrastructure and operations coming into picture, the developer angle, which is the most important stuff when we speak about refactoring or replatforming applications, that also brings in a consistency. So VMware multi-cloud journey is all about giving you a similar consistent model across your infrastructure, operations, and to the developers as well. That is where we actually strike our first partnership with one of the major cloud providers across the world, none other than AWS. So VMware Cloud on AWS is one of our solutions that can help customers bring its existing data center assets to cloud. When I say data center assets, it's all the workloads. So why did we do this? Obviously, VMware number one is actually like we have the de facto majority when it comes to adoption in enterprise data centers. Almost 100% of the Fortune 100,000 customers actually use VMware in their premises for all the mission critical workloads. It is not just for the hypervisor capabilities, but also for the software-defined storage and the software-defined networking capabilities that we have. Similarly, when we speak about AWS, they have the broader set of cloud services, right? And the regions as well. So the marriage between VMware and AWS happened in 2016, and today we are one of the preferred cloud partners between each of us to run workloads, vSphere workloads on the AWS. So this is how VMware Cloud on AWS story evolved. So as I'm speaking, what are all the capabilities that we provide when it comes to VMware Cloud on AWS? Number one, the most important stuff is seamless migration. So you can just lift and shift your application from on-premise to cloud as if you are just doing a vMotion across a host. So what does this bring in? It brings you a faster way to land on cloud and then expand from there. Second is, it also decreases your risk in terms of migration because you don't need any conversion at all. Number two is, this is VMware SDDC as a service, which means all the SDDC components are the features and functionalities that we have been providing to customers on-prem is now available on cloud as well, which makes the entire infrastructure consistent and familiar with all the VMware technologies that you have been seeing. And last is, this also provides customer an option to modernize your entire application, because when we speak about VMware, the VMware hypervisor today can not just run virtual workloads or the virtual machine, but it can also treat containers as a first-class citizen and be able to coexist with them. Using our Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, we will be able to deploy Kubernetes exactly just like how you have been deploying your legacy applications. So what is the solution is all about? So when we speak about VMware Cloud on AWS, don't treat it like you get vSphere in the marketplace where you just go right click and then deploy. No, it is completely a engineered cloud service, which means VMware and AWS sat together, understood the best possible combinations, and then they have engineered the entire solution to be able to run on cloud. So what is the solution is all about? It is nothing but VMware SDDC, which comprises of vSphere, vSAN, and NSX, running on the AWS bare metal instance, the i3 and the i3-en, i3.en kind of instances. On top of it, the entire solution is delivered and supported by VMware. Even though AWS can sell it, the support model is completely with the VMware. It has all the cloud constructs like on-demand capacity stuff. Second is it brings in operational consistency that is necessary. And at the same time, you will be able to seamlessly do a large-scale migration without taking any downtime of your private cloud. Which means, say, for example, you have some 100 of workloads that needs to be moved to cloud. You can just right click on 100 workloads and then say, push, you just move to the cloud. So on the fly, without even taking any downtime, without the user even coming to know, there will be a transparency in migrating the entire workloads to the cloud. Adding to that, it's not just about landing on cloud, right? Customers want to get into cloud, not just to actually put their infrastructure, but also consume those native cloud services, which can be a value add. So VMware Cloud on AWS, it's not just about landing on cloud. We can also extend and integrate with all those AWS native services, just like the Lambda or maybe the Redshift or AWS code pipeline, etc., and integrate with those native services as well. Let me move forward. So what are the use cases that or the scenarios where you could see VMware Cloud on AWS or a VMware Cloud solution can be a positive potential? Number one, disaster recovery. So there are a plethora of customers who have either they have their disaster recovery currently on-premise or looking to have a disaster recovery or replace their existing DR. There are multiple use cases. VMware Cloud on AWS can provide you a disaster recovery solution with all the cloud economics in place, at the same time an on-demand SaaS-based service as well, which means you can just activate the disaster recovery service, select the workloads that you want to protect, and then replicate it to cloud. And this disaster recovery service is not just about protecting you from some eventualities like a data center failure or something. Even ransomware kind of protection can also be provided through our VMware disaster recovery solution. Second is customers who would say, okay, I have a good amount of assets in my on-prem, which I would continue to run, but I have new projects coming in, just like the VDI use cases, virtual desktop infrastructure use cases, or maybe I can move my test and development workloads to cloud. If such a kind of requirement is there, VMware Cloud on AWS can also function as a data center extension use case. The third stuff is obviously cloud migration, where customer wants to exit completely out of the data center and move to a cloud-based platform. We have solutions that will allow customers not just migrate one or two workloads, but also bulk migrate hundreds of workloads to cloud seamlessly. And the last use case is typically for those next generation applications where customer would want to refactor or re-platform kind of use cases. We do have solutions where VMware Cloud on AWS can run the modern generation Kubernetes-based application on our platform, and also extend to and integrate with the native AWS services like the Lambdas, like the Lambdas and AWS code pipeline, etc., kind of solutions as well. So these are the four broad holistic use cases that I could see. But when we actually deep dive into them, we can have further drill down use cases as well. So let me jump into what our customers are doing or who are our customers when it comes to VMware Cloud on AWS. First, this is one of our customers in India who is a BPO service. They had 3 different custom data centers having somewhere close to like 150 to 200 workloads across these 3 data centers. And they wanted to actually consolidate this data center and move to cloud. So we provided our solution, which is VMware Cloud on AWS, which is in Mumbai region. We were able to migrate this entire workloads, the entire 150 workloads, within like a couple of weeks. Within a couple of weeks, we were able to migrate this entire workloads to cloud seamlessly. Plus, we also had their virtual desktops running on the same infrastructure. So what does this how does this benefit to the customer? Number one, migrating to cloud was very seamless. So he had to actually he could migrate the entire thing within 3 weeks, which means he can get rid of his existing on-premise data centers as fast as possible. Definitely, that's a ROI that he saw immediately. Second is, since the virtual desktops and the applications were running together on the same cloud, we also reduced on those cost implications if you would have had the desktop on-prem, because there is a network cost that comes in whenever you download something from cloud, right? So he had all this desktop on the cloud itself, so it was faster, and it also brought down its entire billing with respect to network utilization. So this was the first use case that we had with respect to data center consolidation and evacuation. We have another customer, which is a leading private bank in India, who wanted to host this next-gen CRM application on cloud. So we positioned our VMware Cloud on AWS Story, where its existing UAT, test and development, and all its pre-production environment, including the production virtual machines, are running on the VMware Cloud on AWS Story. So all the application and the web servers are running on VMware Cloud on AWS infrastructure. Parallelly, the database is running on the AWS RDS instances. So if you see here, the use case is not just about migrating the customers to cloud, but also integrating with those native AWS features or the services that is available, so that the customers can land and expand and do a replatforming of its applications as well. So here, the go live was very fast because the entire VMware AWS is a on-demand service. You don't need to actually rack stack your servers, power on the servers, and then maybe install your binaries, etc. All you have to do is just log into the cloud console, which is cloud.vmware.com, and say activate my SDDC. Automatically, it brings up your servers with the configuration that is needed, which saves a lot of time with respect to deployment efforts, right? That is something that customers liked here, so that they were able to onboard their applications as fast as possible. And what we are seeing from this customer is they are also planning to move the remaining applications that would need this extended cloud native services to be moved to VMware Cloud on AWS as well. And the best part about VMware Cloud on AWS is like you start off as small as possible that you need, and you can expand on demand. Say, for example, you want to run on a 3-node configuration initially, and tomorrow if there is a need to grow, it automatically grows by adding more nodes to the cluster. And if there is a shrinkage that is expected where you are trying to move away the workload, it automatically shrinks the nodes as well. So this is something that this private bank got as a benefit, and that is something that they want to move in the future as well. Third important stuff is again an Indian insurance firm. This is more of a DR use case that we saw here. The customer wanted to move his existing data center assets to cloud and run his production there, and he wants to do the other way around, where he wants to make his private cloud as a DR solution. So what happens is his production is all running on VMware Cloud on AWS, and he is replicating back to his on-premise DR, which he is trying to utilize them as a DR solution, so that if in case of any eventuality, he can just pull back his workloads to on-prem and maybe start to run from there. So this is another use case that we saw with respect to DR use case, but a slightly different version of DR. It's not exactly the DR that any customer would be looking for, but we can do a DR back to on-prem as well. The last use case is a very tricky use case. This is based on our latest acquisition, which is Datrium. We call it as VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery Platform. This is for one of the leading ITS organizations across the globe, including India. So they were like tired of this manual process and other stuff, and they had to have this data center kept running for their DR workload, even though they know that DR is not going to be like regular. Maybe once in a new moon is when they are going to start their DR, but still they know that a DR should be up and running. And last is they were also worried about the ransomware attacks and other stuff. So they were looking for a solution which can actually tick mark all these 3 particular use cases. Get rid of the manual process, no need of keeping the data center powered on when it is not in use. And the third thing is, obviously, if there is a ransomware attack, they should be able to come out of it. That is exactly where they evaluated VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery Solution, which is an on-demand SaaS-based offering, where the customer is now replicating their entire workload to a scale-out storage like an S3 bucket in AWS. And when there is a need of DR or something, they can actually use a point in time of that particular replication and mount their SDDC on demand. So whenever the SDDC is brought up, that is the only time when the entire costing comes to him. Till then, it is only the storage cost that is actually going back to the customer. And this is something that we did for the customer. So what happened is this brought in ransomware protection, because he can go back in time, and all these copies that is stored on the cloud is all immutable copies after each replication, so that it doesn't get affected with ransomware, so that they can rewind back in time and go back to the latest copy where the attack was not prevalent. Second is, obviously, they were able to adopt cloud, which is on-demand SaaS-based service. And since their data center is not completely powered on when the DR is actually happening or when the replication is happening, they were able to bring down their cost of DR infrastructure as well. So this is one recent use case that we saw with one of the ITS companies today. Now, how does a TCO look like when we speak about VMware Cloud on AWS? So obviously, it is far better than the on-premise solution. The more the density, what we saw is when we had like 50 VMs running on a single host with a configuration of roughly 2 vCPUs, 8 GB memory, and 150 GB of storage capacity. What we found is it is almost not even on par. It is like lesser than the cost that you would actually shell out to the native cloud providers to run similar kind of workloads on their native instances. So what we saw is there is a break even beyond 40 VMs on a single host, and once it crosses 40 VMs, it is completely a good TCO ROI that we can show for customers who are getting committed for a 3-year subscription. Taking the story forward, so what do I see as the economic value drivers, and why should we adopt VMware Cloud story? Number one, it gives you the best of both the worlds. No matter what choice you want, whether you want to adopt VMware Cloud on AWS or maybe a Google Cloud, VMware Engine, or anything, we give you the best of both the worlds. VMware as your infrastructure layer, and the cloud services comes from the respective cloud hyperscalers. Second, there is no need for immediate refactoring of applications, zero refactoring, because when we speak about refactoring or converting your monoliths to microservices, obviously it is nothing but an additional cost that we are speaking here. Refactoring is not going to reduce your cost. Over a period of time, if you bring in flexibility and faster time to market, but the initial upfront cost for refactoring is always higher. So any customer would want to actually land on cloud safely and then expand slowly. So since we don't need a zero refactoring in place, obviously this is another value that we do provide. Third is you can use your existing VMware skills to be able to reuse for the cloud as well. And the last is the cloud economics. Since it is all on demand, usage-based billing and other stuff, obviously cloud economics comes into picture, and that is one more value that we provide to show you why you should choose VMware Cloud as your destination in adopting your multi-cloud strategy. We do have some differentiating capabilities on native public clouds, even though we don't compete with them, we treat them as our partners. But if there is a question on what is that we do better, and why should you choose VMware as the infrastructure as against the native cloud infrastructure? Number one, obviously, as I've been reiterating, no application refactoring. You don't need to retrofit your infrastructure. It is not like where you have to choose the available EC2 bare metal EC2 instances like a 2 CPU or an 8 GB memory, 4 CPU or a 60 GB memory. What if you need a VM with 4 CPU and 6 GB memory? On a cloud, you should actually go back and choose 4 CPU and 8 GB memory only. Even though you will not be using them, you still need to choose them. So that is something that is not mandatory here. It is completely up to you. You choose the density of the VMs running on a single host. We don't charge you for the number of VMs that is running on the host. It is the entire host that is actually provided to the customer. So this host completely belongs to you, which makes it completely a secured infrastructure. At the same time, the density or the over subscription that you want to have is completely left to you. Second thing, when it comes to our solution is, yeah, it provides you the consistency in terms of infrastructure operations, right? You have the same vSphere hypervisor, you have the same vSAN, you have the same NSX across. So what happens is the familiarity is all like you still log into the same vCenter and you will be able to manage your private cloud and public cloud alike. Plus, since it is vSphere, it is already a proven and a reliable platform, and we have a rich set of ecosystem support in terms of the applications that are supported to run on this particular infrastructure. And the last thing is the availability and the optimization. What we guarantee is a 99.9% availability as an SLA for the entire infrastructure if it is deployed on single availability zone. If the customer needs a further SLA where he wants to explore 99.99% availability, we can actually provide you a stress cluster configuration across availability zones so that 99.99% is an SLA that is guaranteed to you. It is not just on paper, it is something that we guarantee to the customer. And where is it available? Yeah, almost like 21 locations is what is available where VMware Cloud on AWS is available currently. In India, it is available in Mumbai region, which is a full-blown region with 3 availability zones available, which supports both 99.9% and 99.99% of SLA guarantee as per the choice that you need. You can choose whether you want a 99.9% or a 99.99% availability. And it has all the compliance that is necessary, the HIPAA compliance, SOC compliance, the ISO, all the compliances that is necessary for different industry regulations is available as a part of the VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, let me get to the fag end of my presentation. What is that you achieve with this hybrid cloud story? Number one, obviously, you don't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure. You keep business innovation as your priority so that the infrastructure is just something that is common. Second, obviously, since the migration is seamless, you are switching from a CapEx to an OpEx model. The upfront cost that is needed to run your infrastructure comes down. And the last thing is operations. Operations in the DevOps world, operations is something that needs to be synchronized with your development framework, right? With consistency everywhere, we are providing those empowerment to your operations to be able to shift their focus onto some other strategic priorities as well. So these are the 3 sweet business outcomes that I would want to put it in front of you. And apart from that, the last thing that I want to leave you with is VMware is a single shop when it comes to addressing the 5 R's of cloud migration. No matter whether you want to retain your infrastructure assets, rehost them to cloud, replatform them, retire them, or completely refactor them, VMware has solutions across all these particular pillars to help you in your journey towards cloud migration. With this, I would like to end my presentation. If you want to understand more about VMware cloud story, do let us know. You can either reach out to me, Girish Raja, graja@vmware.com, or to Jerry George at star1it.com. We will ensure that we set up a one-on-one workshop with you and then take you through this entire story and assist you with your journey as well. Thank you. This is Girish Raja signing off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Girish, for sharing an insightful presentation and giving a broad overview of various solutions. Now we will take a few questions from the audience, but before that, we have some questions for this esteemed speakers, and I would like to start with Mr. Srikumar, sir. Yeah, sir, as an industry leader, how do you look modernization of IT infrastructure for small businesses?
Typically from the hybrid solution perspective, or you're looking at from a larger digitization perspective kind of a thing?
Yeah, we are looking at the hybrid perspective.
Okay. Actually, as I was mentioning earlier, Girish was probably focusing on that one-way traffic kind of a thing, where how do we move our the workload out there seamlessly on to the cloud kind of thing, which will reduce our TCO kind of a thing. But more than if I look at it's likely different CIOs or different head of ITs or different senior IT leaders will have different requirements and perspective depending on the ecosystem that they have. So one thing which I found and announced is the seamless integration, like your CI/CD pipeline that we have, which Girish actually was touching, the DevOps thing. That needs to continuously map from one end to the other. Like your edge keeps changing. Like you like your compute where it's there, and then your final production environment where it will be, your development where it happens, your testing where it happens. All this should be a kind of one single pipeline. Whether you move it a bit forward and put it to the outside of the edge, or you bring it back forth, and so where do you draw the line? It should be up to this, the IT head's discretion to move within this pipeline wherever he wants. So he will just move the edge the way he wants. So, and also this has to be seamlessly automated kind of thing. It should not be like you actually reconfigure, reinvent, and all this, or make a solution. So for those kind of things, you need a lot of work together with the platform guys like this VMware, plus the industry from the hardware vendors, and the cloud thing. So maybe it will be a combination of Dell, AWS, and VMware kind of thing. So VMware, perhaps, as I understand, they have the thing with the Dell guys, and so your hyper-converged infrastructure that you have on-premise, which itself is a big showcase kind of a thing, where again VMware has a part to play there. I'm just telling about VMware because we took that context there. So and then when you look at the cloud space, there again you have the same ecosystem that is VMware. So if you adopt, so it could be Nutanix, it could be VMware, it could be anything else. It could be a purely OpenShift kind of a thing. It's all container based these days, so the applications to be moved across. So from our perspective, it will be more from a seamless integration end to end is what we would probably be looking at as the next step towards digitization.
So of time, sir. Because of the paucity of time, we have to move to the other question.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and answering the question. Next question I would like to ask Commodore Matthew. How will StarOne IT help in bridging the capacity gap and help enterprises on their hybrid cloud journey? So could you please answer that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because this is something which actually intrigues a lot of people. And we heard from Girish about how seamless the VMware platform is. And now, and we heard Srikumar sir talk about the industry, the pain points which the industry leaders are actually having. When you look at it from StarOne's perspective, we started off and we actually grew along with technology, right? From on-prem solutions, and then we moved into cloud. So our teams are actually having deep dive knowledge on both on-premise hardware and the cloud solutions. So talking, collaborating, and making the solution work, because there is no sure fix solution for anybody, because everybody's use case is unique. Sitting across, we can help you draw the line. We can help you move your applications. Where do you draw the line? How much do you shift? What do you put on the cloud? What do you put on the premise? All this we leverage from our understanding and our experience with both the traditional and the cloud technology. So that is where we will, with our partnership with VMware and AWS, we step in to bridge this gap.
Sure. Thank you so much for your inputs. The next question we would like to ask from Mr. Girish. So what are the trends are you observing in app modernization? If you could give some kind of sense on that. Or Mr. Jan could also take it over.
Yeah, thanks, Pankaj. When we speak about application modernization, what we see with customers today across the IT segments or the IT organizations that we have seen, so they want to start off by landing on cloud first. They want to land on cloud safely and then expand slowly from there. Instead of actually, because everyone knows when we speak about application modernization, the upfront cost is going to be more. It is not going to be less than what we actually see on a normal virtualization. It's not like you virtualize a physical machine and then straight away get an ROI. No, it is more towards the agility and the flexibility. That is where customer moves towards application modernization. They want to land on first, and then basis the application that they want to see, they take a drive whether they want to go the replatforming way, the refactoring way, or completely retire your application and move it fastly. So we have seen customers taking all these three steps, but it depends on what application where they are running. So just to add to what Srikumar sir was saying, it should be an end-to-end strategy. Today we have one of our customers, again in India, is one of the financial services customers who is running their entire CI, the DevOps CI process on public cloud, and the deployment of this application happens on-prem. So this is a typical multi-cloud strategy or a multi-cloud deployment that we have using our VMware Cloud Storage. And this is one example that I could say when it comes to app modernization that customers are doing.
Sure. Thank you so much for answering that. And now we have come to the last leg of our webinar. So the forum is open for audience questions. So the audience, now it's your role to participate and throw some of the questions that you have in mind. Our esteemed speakers are here to answer you. Can we have some of the audience questions? We can wait for some time, maybe. So, okay, let me ask another question. I think audience will take their own time and we are running out of time eventually. So from Mr. Girish or from Mr. Ajit, I mean, whosoever is comfortable in this question answering, how to address the security challenges for multi-cloud environment? If any of you could come up and answer that, please.
Yeah, security. Now, when people speak about cloud, the next question that comes is what is my cloud security? And when we speak about security on cloud, there are two aspects to it. Security of the cloud is taken care by the cloud provider, no matter whether it is AWS or Azure or anyone. It is taken care by the cloud provider. But security inside the cloud is completely a challenge that is thrown towards the organization, the customer organization. And there are plethora of tools. Today, if you see, there are disparate tools. In fact, the security, the tools that is for the cloud native applications is completely different from the tools that you use typically for your legacy workloads. So customers need to follow multiple skill sets and multiple tools to actually bring them to a story. And adding to it, now since the cloud is an adverse topic, what I always hear from my senior is that there is one thing that is standard in public cloud is nothing is standard. Everyone follows their own way of deploying their cloud. So what happens is the security component is also different in each of these things. So you need multiple skill sets. That is exactly where VMware Cloud Story comes into picture. Our security construct is similar. It's the same skill set that you need, no matter whether you choose on-prem deployment or an edge deployment or any of the public cloud deployments. The security constructs of this virtual machines, whether it is a legacy application, legacy virtual machine, or a container-based implementation, we have the same security tools to be able to apply to this particular virtual machine And when they move from one cloud to another cloud or back to on-prem, the security policies also travels with them. So it is about security everywhere and consistent everywhere. This is exactly the cloud security that we have been advocating and evangelizing to customers with respect to VMware Cloud today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raja, for sharing your inputs. We have completely now actually exhausted our time. On behalf of Tech Observer Magazine, VMware, and Star One IT, we thanks to our speakers and attendees for taking out their valuable time for today's program. Shortly, you will receive a survey form. Please do share your feedback. We look forward to hosting you again in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all the panelists. Thank you so much.